Kirsty Black.
I would like to first congratulate the Honourable Member for Solihull on his maiden speech. I am sure that he will be an excellent representative for the people of that area. I am absolutely delighted, Mr Deputy Speaker, to give the first maiden speech from an Aberdeen SNP MP. Since 1935, Aberdeen North has been represented in the House of Commons by the Labour Party. My predecessor, Mr Frank Doran, represented the people of Aberdeen. He actually represented Aberdeen South, Aberdeen North and the former Aberdeen Central constituency during his time in Parliament. Mr Doran represented the city over a 30-year period before taking the decision to retire. Although I did not know him well, he was an able parliamentarian who was known for sticking to his principles, and he was highly regarded here. I wish him well in his retirement. Mr Deputy Speaker, it is an absolute pleasure to represent the beautiful urban constituency of Aberdeen North. Aberdeen is a city famed for its granite and for its oil. Its folk are known for being thrifty and incomprehensible. Although it's true that the Doric takes some learning because it's less of a dialect and more of a language in its own right. Thrifty we are definitely not. Aberdonians are hugely generous. We regularly feature in the top 10 lists for charitable giving. Mr Deputy Speaker, I represent Aberdeen North. Bounded on the north side by my right honourable friend, the member for Gordon, my constituency covers Bucksburn, a little of Bridge of Dawn, including the stunning Brig of Balgownie. Moving down through Seaton on a wee constituency tour and on to Pittodrie, the home of Aberdeen Football Club, the Dons, where Sir Alex Ferguson is best known as a former Aberdeen manager. He led us to great success in the 80s, but we haven't quite been able to reach that heights again. The constituency follows the freezing North Sea down to picturesque Fitty and the bustling Aberdeen Harbour, which is one of the UK's busiest ports. There, Aberdeen North meets the Aberdeen South constituency. The boundary sweeps up to Union Street, a mile-long triumph of engineering and architecture, a street, though, Mr Deputy Speaker, that has seen better days. The Aberdeen City Council had the opportunity to draw people back into the heart of the city by creating a bustling city square where St Nicholas House once stood. In clear and complete disregard for the will of the people, they have chosen to press ahead with the horrendous Marshall Square project, which will hide views of the city's finest historical buildings, Provost Keen's House and Marshall College. Moving on through our constituency tour of Aberdeen North, Rosemount has a thriving set of wee businesses, each filling a niche that can't be found on the high street. Moving through Midstockett and Kingsgate, you can see why Aberdeen is called the Granite City. Granite is gloriously abundant. We go out to Kings Wells, where you find a thriving community with a very strong community council who are working so hard to improve their area. In Summerhill and Chedixley, Mr Deputy Speaker, post-war housing and Somebody Cares Food Bank. They are doing great work, but they should not have to. The Langstrath there is the home of the famous Aberdeen Journals, where the Evening Express is made and where the Press and Journal is the highest circulation of all of Scotland's regional papers. Going through Maastricht, Northfield, Heatheryfold and Middlefield, they are areas where regeneration is a buzzword, where members of the community are working so hard to improve their area. Here, folk in our oil-rich city are struggling to make ends meet. In Cornhill, Stockett Hill and Ashgrove, the areas are full of older people and young families living in council housing and ex-council housing. In Aberdeen, we are in the midst of a housing crisis. Decades of Tory right to buy have decimated our housing stock. Elected representatives in Aberdeen receive more casework from those struggling to find a home than anything else. Surely, a right to a secure tenancy is more important than a right to buy. Thankfully, the Scottish Government has taken affirmative action, and the manifesto I stood on backed a big increase in investment in housing in Scotland and across the UK. Mr Speaker, Rosehill, Hilton and Berryden are a mix of student living and comfortable families, three-storey townhouses and granite tenements, and the really recognisable Aberdeen 4 in a block. Then we have Woodside and Tillydrone, another food bank, instant neighbour, having to make appeals to the public earlier this year, as in Scotland's third city, a food bank had run out of food. Lastly, Old Aberdeen and the Aberdeen University, founded in the 16th century. In 1593, there were 2 universities in Aberdeen. At the same time, England only had 2. My constituency is hugely varied, and throughout the campaign I spoke to many people on the doorsteps. Throughout the campaign, I met the most informed, most engaged and most interested electorate I've ever been faced with in Scotland. We are not in some sort of post-referendum saturation point with politics. People in Scotland have got a clear vision for the future. They clearly voted for the anti-austerity SNP. They clearly voted for our progressive politics, and they have a clear vision for the future of Scotland. Yeah.